Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another segment of Come Fly with Us, inside information about insurance. I'm back again this morning with Marcus Becerra, and we hope you had a great weekend. We've got another question that came across our desk, and it pertains to auto insurance. And basically, they wanted to know what is underinsured motorist or uninsured motorist coverage, and how that's important and how it pertains to them.
Yeah, it's one of those things that whenever I quote auto insurance, it's one of the things that I 100% put on a policy. You've got a couple different things as far as liability goes on your policy. The first one is liability. That's if you hit somebody else and it's your fault. The ones that help protect you and your family or anybody else riding in your vehicle is, UIM, uninsured motorist, or underinsured motorist. And what that means is somebody hits you and it's their fault, and either a couple of things can happen. One, the worst one is probably if they actually have coverage, but the carrier has them excluded as a driver.
Yes.
Or, the mom and dad are on there, but the son's not listed or daughter's not listed, and they had to be listed, so they're not going to cover the claim. Two, they might not have insurance at all. And then three, if they hit you today and it's the April 4th or 5th, and their policy canceled April 1st, there's no coverage for for that either. So that's really the only protection that can protect you and your family, to have any kind of medical or anything like that if you have the uninsured motorist. So in the state of Texas, you're not really required to have uninsured motorist. So it's something that I always talk to folks about. I think in 12 years, I've probably written maybe 2 policies, and they dang sure had to sign off that they didn't want it.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, oh, it'll never happen to me, but rest assured, Murphy's Law comes into play.
Yeah.
When you decide you're not going to have uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists, and something happens, and a good telltale sign is if that person hits you and then they flee the scene.
Yeah, no,
you've got, okay, they probably don't have insurance, or they know they don't have enough. That's another thing. Underinsured motorists.
Exactly.
Because if they don't have enough coverage to care for your injuries and your auto and all that, then your insurance has to come into play. But if you don't have this coverage,
there's if the state minimum limit that you can have on uninsured motorists is 30, 60, 25. But if you carry a little bit higher limits, I always like to match those limits than what you have on the liability. Right. Because I tell folks you're paying this for liability, but you're paying less for your family. And what that means is, like, if you've got 50,000, 100,000, 50,000, if you're by yourself and you get hit and run, you can go on your uninsured motorist limits, right, and take care of 50,000 for one person. If there's multiple people, it goes up to that second number, the 100, mm-hmm, and then up to 50,000 for your property damage. But a lot of times what you can do too is, let's say they have state minimum limits and you driving around a Chevy Tahoe that's worth 60,000, and they total your vehicle and the max they can pay is 25, and you still have some coverage there left. You can go on your uninsured motorist and get the difference.
Yeah.
With the $250 deductible. Anytime you use uninsured motorist limits, it's a $250 deductible.
$250 deductible, yeah.
But what I tell folks too is, technically, if you have full coverage, comp and collision, if you don't have uninsured motorists, you can get your physical damage covered that way, but then it looks like an at-fault accident.
Right.
So if you most of the time carriers are a little less, hard on you if you got an uninsured motorist, and then they can also maybe go through subrogation to see if they can get that paid.
Exactly.
But it's really important. It's a coverage I always quote on my policies, and especially with, I don't know what the statistic is, but there's a lot of people driving around the state of Texas that don't have insurance.
Boy, there are a lot of people driving around with that insurance, and they're just rolling the dice that they're not ever going to get caught, or have an accident and then have to be accountable for it. But and also rest assured, he talked about state minimums. Just remember, at Goosehead, we do not write state minimum policy.
Yeah, we're not allowed to.
We're not allowed to do that. So the policy will not even pass our quality control department before they kick it back and say, no, this isn't going to work. We just feel it's not the best thing for our clients.
Yeah.
Just to protect your assets properly. We're just something we're not going to do.
Yes,
we can't do.
Especially too, I'd like to make a note on this. If you're, husband and wife, husband has a Ford Dually, 2020, and that thing was 70,000.
Yeah.
And the wife's got a Chevy Tahoe, and it's 50 to 60. It could be even more, I think. And you're driving around with 30, 60, 25 limits. Probably you want to make sure to bump those up.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize, to bump those limits from state minimum to 100, 300, or 300, 500, or 500 combined single limit, the premium is not that much.
No, it really isn't. Just like anything else in insurance, all these different endorsements, to be covered properly, if you take a look at the cost versus the risk of not having it, it's way worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. You just want to be prepared. Like I said, you never want to find out at the last minute when something happens that you're not covered properly, because then you got to come out of pocket with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
Yeah. We got a couple of police officers that I know really well, and I talk to them a lot, and they're like, man, there's a lot of people driving around without insurance. So the best way to cover your family, your possessions, your vehicles, is to make sure you have uninsured motorist limits. At least some of them. You know, it's good to have a little bit more, but you know, at least you've got that coverage. I always see, you know, folks send me over their deck pages like, I don't know what I got. And
I hear it time and time again, man.
Most time you see that liability line covered, and then that uninsured motorist says rejected, and that means you don't have it. So it's always good to just go over your policy, you know, send it to us. We'll take a look at it, you know, and we always like to, you know, it doesn't matter who you have insurance with. We just want to make sure that you got a good contract and you've got the coverages.
Well, and we'll tell you again, like we've told you before, when that adjuster goes out there, he's got to follow the contract, black and white. It's black and white. Now, there's no, oh, well, I feel bad for you, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this. If you don't have it, it's not going to get covered.
Yeah, no, the adjusters are always get the short end of the stick. But they just read the letter of the law, you know, and if it's on the policy, they get it covered, and if it's not, you know, unfortunately they can't. So, but it's always good. Always hesitant for folks to try to buy it online. You know, they just might think they're insurance experts. But if you go online and it's, you know, it's one of those price check deals.
Oh man, we hear it all the time. You want this rate? Okay, well we're not going to give you this, but they don't really explain what this means to you.
Exactly. So it's always good, you know, whether it's us or your insurance agent that you know forever, or your next door neighbor, they're gonna do what's best for you and make sure you have the right coverages. If you just go online and click through there and try to pick a price, sometimes, most of the time, it's not going to have all the coverages you need, and then you don't really find out until a claim happens, and then that's when you need the insurance the most. And if it's not there, it gives a really sour taste in your mouth. So.
Well, yeah, all it's going to do is frustrate you and make you upset, and just it's not going to be a good thing. So check with your agent or with us. Okay, reach out to us, jim.ensinia at goosehead.com or 469-585-6012. We'll be happy to check out your policy, review them for you. It doesn't cost anything. It's totally free. Yes, you can change in the middle of your contract. You don't have to wait till your expiration date. And if you're not covered properly or you're paying too much, why would you want to wait?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, let's just get it done and take care of, and we'll move on down the road. All right. So share this video with your friends and family. Go to elliscountyvideos.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you can know when we have a new video. Check out the insurance section. There's lots of cool videos there, and browse around if you want. Don't forget, come fly with us. Power of choice. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.